In other news, the Special Investigating Unit has dismissed claims it's not equipped to investigate various allegations at the University of Fort Hare. The unit is currently investigating claims of corruption, including academic fraud linked to the Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane. The SIU has accused Mabuyane of failing to cooperate in their probe into his alleged illegitimate master's thesis. In court papers filed last week, the unit says this is evidence showing foul play in the Premier's pursuit of the master's degree at the university, amid claims he did not write the proposal for the thesis himself.
That it is mandated by law and more than equipped and has required skills, experience and capacity to investigate the allegations received. The SIU has been fulfilling this mandate for more than 26 years. The investigation at the University of Fort Hare has proceeded well thus far and uncovered evidence that is currently being assessed for the purposes of informing the findings and actions to be taken. The SIU is mindful of the proclamation and some aspect of the investigation that has been challenged in the High Court, and the matter is pending in court. However, due to the assertion covered in the media having the effect on misleading the public, the SIU was left with no option but to set the record straight in the public.
The Daily Maverick journalist Estelle Ellis has been following events surrounding this case, Mabuyane and the University of Fort Hare. She joins me now. Estelle, good evening. This is such a strange case. You have the SIU investigating corruption and alleged academic fraud at the University of Fort Hare, and a whole premier decides he has to intervene and stop the case. What does Oscar Mabuyane actually want in his application?
Yes, so I think this was a fairly, in my own opinion, this was a disastrous court application for the Premier. He started off trying to stop the entire probe. Then, on very short notice, as an extremely urgent application, because the SIU wanted to talk to him and they wanted some documentation from him. And then he amended it to say, no, he doesn't want to stop the entire probe because he's in favor of the probe, but he just wants it to exclude him. And he says that the terms of the proclamation as signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa does not include a probe of his dealings, let's call it that, at the university for a master's degree or attempt to obtain one. But he's very cagey about the details of his master's attempt to obtain a master's degree.
It's such a strange thing. I mean, the obvious sort of question would be, if he had nothing to hide, why does it matter? I was going to ask you if you think, does he have a strong case, but you say it seems almost disastrous in your opinion.
Yes, look, I think we should be in favor of, I was surprised by the SIU's comments because I think people should go to court. I think a challenge against the proclamation like that, if the SIU should be happy with it, the president should be happy with it. I was quite surprised in the emotions around this case because we should have a robust enough legal system that these proclamations can be challenged because it can provide the SIU with very widespread powers and it should have judicial and should have oversight to it. It was just interesting to me that in this case, so now this case, you know what they say, with bad cases makes bad law. This premier, in my mind, shouldn't have challenged this investigation. He claims he's got nothing to hide. It's nothing more simple than to say, here's my academic records. Here is the summary of my dealings with this professor who was enrolling high-profile officials in the state and politicians into his program. This is what happened. But instead, things are still, even in his affidavit, it's very murky. And it was Vice-Chancellor Sakila Bulungu called him out on it and said, just come up with in the court papers, he said, you can't just deny that you did anything wrong, but there's very little of that. And, if I can just add this, the SIU is empowered by law to investigate in the public interest. And I think it's important that they do. I find it very strange that a person professing to be an anti-corruption premier would do something to this extent on this such an urgent basis.
Estelle Ellis, thank you. Journalist at Daily Maverick. Do appreciate the time.